All right, good morning. Happy Saturday. I usually like to do my videos on Sundays, but we're talking about the Semites today, and rightfully so. We're doing it on a Saturday. This presentation is called Identifying the Early Semites, Egypt and the Sumerians, and the battles between the Nilotic and Afro-Asiatic peoples. Origin of the word Semite and the language. The designation of Semite or Semitic originated in about 1780 in Germany at the Göttingen School of History at Göttingen University. This university was founded by King George II of Great Britain and is in Lower Saxony. The Semitic language is a part of the Afro-Asiatic language, and the Afro-Asiatic family originates in the Sudan and migrates to the Ethiopian highlands and the Red Sea hills near the coast of the Red Sea. From there, they migrate north into Egypt and east across the Red Sea and south in Ethiopia as well. Egyptian is an earlier Afro-Asiatic language that existed prior to Semitic. The Mushabian, Kebaran, and Natufian cultures. Professor Errit believes that the Mushabian culture of Egypt moved into the Levant and brought with it the Proto-Semitic language. The Mushabian culture mixed with the Kebaran culture in Palestine and created the Natufian culture. The Natufian culture occupied Jericho. The ancestors of the Semites participated in agriculture between 9500 to 8000 BCE in the Levant. And therefore, we would assume that the ancestors of the Semites are in the northern Levant at this time. These people believed in nature spirits that could cause harm to the living. So, like by storms, and therefore like a storm god. Identifying the early Semites. Arabic is now the most widely spread and has the most speakers of the Semitic language. The earliest branches that existed from about 2500 to 2000 BCE were the Akkadian, Babylonian, Assyrian, Amorite, Ugaritic, and Proto-Canaanite. Those after these are Amharic, Hebrew, Tigrinya, and Maltese, Phoenician, Moabite, Ammonite, Edomite, and in southern Arabia, Sabaean and Manaean. Not Sumerian. Sumerian is not a Semitic or Afro-Asiatic language. The Nakata culture of Egypt. I believe that the Hebrews are the Nakata culture of Egypt. I base this on the similarities to their Bible, the Tanakh, and modern Jews, along with the history and religion of Egypt. Nakata is called Nupt, or the city of gold. Think of Jews and gold. And the Egyptian goddess Nut, the mother of Ra, is also called Nupt, or gold. And Horus is the golden hawk, or Hashem of some of the Jews. The Egyptian goddess Neith of the north and the Hebrew Eve of the Bible are the equivalents of the goddess Nut. The Nakata culture began about 4000 to 3500 BCE in southern Egypt near the border with Nubia. The Egyptian god Set in the hierarchical hierarchy of Egypt. The Egyptian god Set is a son or grandson of Nut. We talked about the waters of Nubia and hippos in a prior video. The hippo is a symbol of Nut, Isis, and Set. And the Nakata's chief color is red, and the red royal crown of the northern kingdom of Egypt. The crown is said to come from the south. Nakata seems to be the hierarchical meaning ruled by a religious hierarchy. And we know that writing was named hieroglyphs and was a product of the ruling class. The writing and beliefs of the ancient Egyptians was written by the hierarchical hierarchy. The battle between Set, Ra, and Horus for Egypt. Nakata moves north with the red crown and replaces the original Buto Madi people in the delta. Nakata is trying to control all of Egypt, and Nakata and Set and the followers of Horus and Ra are interacting at the border of Egypt, also called Nubia. Both sides are vying for power of Egypt, or they are working together to subject and loot the people. Set and Nakata rebel against Ra, and Ra gets Horus for the battle. Ra and Horus push Set and Nakata to the northeast corner of the delta and then eventually out of the delta into the Sinai. Those that remained were forced to worship Horus or their Hashem. The Uruk expansion and the floods. Ra and Horus unite all of Egypt under their control and begin the dynastic period of their Nubian kings in Egypt. By 3500 BCE, both Nakata and the city of Butu in the delta were already connected to Syria in the Uruk expansion in Mesopotamia and Susa in the Zagros Mountains. Therefore, they would have been connected to Semites in the Levant. Schmidt says the flood in the Bible is a flood of Hamites in Egypt, and Hawkes says many consider the flood to be a flood of Semites, and the Akkadians attacking the Sumerians was called a flood of Akkadians. This makes sense as waves or a slow drip of migrations of people from the Levant back into Egypt, like seen later in the Joseph story, and later than that in the Arabs conquering Egypt and the Sudan. Therefore, they regained their original territory and more back. The unification and the creation of the state. It's likely that the hierarchical priesthood of Ra was the instigator of the conflict between the native Egyptians and the Nubians and started the war. The unification of Egypt is seen in the story of Genesis and the Garden of Eden. In the unification and the ascendancy of Horus as God and King of all Egypt is the symbolism of the beginning of the state. The Jews in the protocols present themselves as the creator of states and say that they are the controllers of states from a higher state, i.e. the federal governments. To the right here we see a picture of them tying the papyrus and the lotus plant together, which is the symbol of uniting the north and the south together. The city and the kings of Kish of Mesopotamia. At the same time, the followers of Set were pushed out of Egypt at about 3000 BCE. The Semites began to enter the Euphrates and Tigris valleys. The first post-Diluvian dynasty in Mesopotamia is at the city of Kish. Nubia was also called Kush with the K. Kish and Kush are the same with a slight variation which probably designated the location, perhaps maybe east and west. With Kush being west and Kish being east. Many kings of Kish have Semitic names. The vulture goddess and Atum. At Kish, there is a vulture stele of Eon Atum, who was the king of Lagash in Sumer. The patroness goddess of southern Egypt was the vulture goddess. Eon is the same as An of Egypt, meaning the sun. Therefore, Eon Atem is the sun Atem. Atem is the Egyptian sun god Ra. And Adam of the Garden of Eden is the same as Atem. Semites continue to enter Sumer and the other cities coming from the north and west. And the Akkadians were Semites and were powerful in Kish. Sumerians are not Semites. They are probably Nilotics or Nile River people. And in all actuality, we can call the Semites Nile River people as well. The battles between Kish and Sumer, or the Semites and Nilotics. The Sumerians ruled the south, and these kings of Kish and Akkad are fighting with Sumer. Sumerians are probably Nilotics. Therefore, we see Nilotics and Afro-Asiatic peoples vying for power in Sumeria. Ra and Horus are Nilotics or Nubians of the 5th dynasty Egypt. The last 5th dynasty king of Egypt, Unas, Nimrod, Anu, all the same people, leaves Egypt by the Red Sea with an army to Sumer, maybe to reinforce Sumer in their battle with Kish. The Kish king Mebar Ragesi fights and loses against the Uruk king of Sumer, Gilgamesh. Many scholars believe that Nimrod is Gilgamesh, and Osborne states Unas flees Anu in Egypt. The Sumerians defeat the Semites and push them back. Alright, that gives us an idea of the earliest Semites and who they are and where they came from. Here's the bibliography: Catherine Bard, Introduction to the Archaeology of Egypt; Gatto, Cultural Entanglement at the Dawn of Civil Egyptian History; Erit, The Civilizations of Africa; Hawkes, The First Great Civilizations; Budge, Legends of the Gods. My name is Stephen Webb from San Diego, California. Take care and have a good rest of your Saturday.